Hi guys, I'm Manu and welcome to another episode of Sweet Money. I'm a CPA from Canada and the US. I've got a cool little accounting firm, better known as Shandel CPA. And the session is called Chilling with My Favorite Accountant. Once a month, I just talk about whatever's on my mind and think of it as therapy, where you're my therapist and I'm just letting it all out. So here it is, unedited and completely raw. There's a few things I want to talk to you about. So especially the young adults and teenagers, gather around because Brother Manu has a show for you. Number one, CC. CC stands for Carnage. Carney has fulfilled his promise of reducing taxes. He didn't want to reduce taxes because it's not what the left usually do. They usually increase taxes. But he had to do it because Pierre Poilievre was all about reducing taxes. His entire platform was about reducing taxes, and clearly that didn't resonate very well with Canadians. So, Carney wanted to be a copycat. He said the same thing as Pierre. And people went all gaga goo goo because, CC was saying it. And he fulfilled the promise. And $420 is the whopping number which every Canadian will save who makes $52,000 or more. Yes, you heard it right. $420. And the media has been very silent about this. And you can't blame them. There really isn't much to celebrate. $420 is basically putting your child in soccer for one summer, right? That's what it is. So it's great. Your child gets to play soccer for 3 months, but there's really nothing more to it than that. So, but I guess he can stand in front of the podium now and say, hey, look, I reduced your taxes. I'm great. Vote for me again so I can increase your taxes next year and we'll take away that $420. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about, really, the crux of today's meeting is jobs and AI for young adults. I'm running into a lot of young adults who claim to be stressed and who claim to be depressed and are going through anxiety because they can't seem to find employment. Okay. And then I start asking some probing questions, and then it becomes very evident why they're not finding jobs. Number one, your job searching technique sucks. It's not your fault. I think COVID has made a lot of young adults introverts. They lost 2-3 years of development, social development. Those prime years were taken away from them. What you need to do is you have to go in person. Like, for example, if you're looking for a summer job and you're a student at university, you go in person, you hand in your resume, you try and get in front of the manager, the hiring manager, or the owner of the company. Okay? If you can't do it, it's fine. You hand your resume off to whomever. Then a week later, you go back, right? And you try and get in front of the hiring person. One day you will bump into them, look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on social media, try and contact that person. No one is DMing the manager or the GM of a company. They're not celebrities. No one DMs them. If you can find those individuals, drop them a DM, set up the appointment and contact them through Instagram or Facebook, you will stand out, right? Make yourself stand out. Dropping off your resume virtually or just in some application box will not get you a job, okay? It just won't. So stop wasting your time. You're better off just sitting in your basement and playing video games, okay? So make yourself visible and really show to the hiring manager that you want this job. You have to stand out. If you're not standing out, you're just a piece of paper. End of story. Now, I did some research on this topic, and there was actually an article, and it said the worst paying jobs, okay, based on degrees. So the worst paying degrees are, and this is from Fortune magazine, May 19th, 2025. It's very recent. If you're studying university foreign language, general social sciences, performing arts, anthropology, ECE. ECE is early childhood education, family consumer sciences. I don't even know what that is. I never even heard of that. When I was in school, there was no such thing as family and consumer sciences. It's such a nonsensical degree. I'm even surprised kids are enrolling in this. Or you know what's even worse? That parents are allowing their children to enroll in some degree called Family and Consumer Sciences. And it actually gets worse. What the hell is general education? I don't know what general education is. Anyways, so general education, miscellaneous biological science. Miscellaneous. The word miscellaneous threw me off, but I don't know. Maybe it's a really smart degree out there. Social services, theology, and religion. Like, seriously, like, what kind of job would you get with theology and religion? To become a priest or a pandit or a gyani, you don't need a university degree. So that's breaking news. All right. So those were the 10 based off of Fortune magazine, and none of them surprised me. I've even heard of half of them, but they don't surprise me. So this is what I recommend. If you find yourself in some bobo degree, like one of these 10, like anthropology or something, then what you should do instead is, I actually came across someone, believe it or not, who advertises themselves to go sit in line at $38 an hour. Okay. Now, what does that entail? Let's say a new iPhone is coming out. A lot of spoiled brats out there, right? They want their new phones. So they'll camp outside the store for 12, 13, 14 hours in order to get that latest and greatest phone, which is going to improve their life so much, right? Because a 22-year-old, I mean, what else can change your life? And since you have money to burn, why don't, there's people who sit outside for 12, 13, 14 hours and they charge $38 to sit in that spot and camp out, right? Do that instead, guys. It'll pay much better than working as a barista at Starbucks coffee. Right? There you go. I gave you the secret to success. And develop that entrepreneurial mind. Now, there was another article that I read regarding this topic. Always do research for you younglings. Brother one who has your back. Believe it or not, that a 42-year-old software engineer who had over 15 years of work experience lost his job because of AI. AI replaced this individual. Okay. Now, this person, at that time, was in a program that was very much in demand, right? Like, you were the bomb. Like, jobs around the world were waiting for you, right? High pay, very prestigious. But now what's happening is the guy has been replaced by AI. Who could have predicted that, right? 10 years ago, 5 years ago, who could have predicted that? He sent out 800 applications over the course of 1 year and has shot nothing but blanks. So Fortune magazine didn't reveal this, but actually spoke to a gentleman by the name of Ryan Wong. Ryan Wong is, I think, one of the tech gurus out there that I personally know. He's a very smart individual when it comes to tech. And I asked him the question this week. I said, dude, if someone's studying software engineering and they're graduating next April 2026, 1 year from now, what are their job prospects? He said none. There's zero job prospects. So I just want to convey that message to you guys. If you're in software engineering, IT, anything of that nature, make sure when you graduate, there's a job waiting for you. And if there isn't, how will you transform this education, right? Which proves that you have some, mental capacity to get your engineering degree. How will you transform that education into entrepreneurship, right? Can you somehow become an AI consultant or something that will be in demand where you can start a business? If you can't think of anything, you may want to switch your course of education while you still have time. All right? That's that on that. Now, and going back to that engineer, that 42-year-old engineer, in the article, he went on to say that he now is a driver for DoorDash and he's selling his stuff on eBay to make ends meet. That's kind of sad, right? It made me really sad that such a qualified individual is in such situation. Okay, moving on. Then I did just a little more research on this topic, and there's a guy out there. He's a CEO. His name is Dario Amodei, Amodei. He's a CEO of a company called Anthropic. Supposedly, it's a large tech company, and they interviewed him regarding AI and jobs and all that type of stuff. And what he says, and I quote, he says, "This is just the tip of the iceberg. In 12 months, we're right now July 2025. In 12 months, we may be in a world where AI is writing essentially all of the code." Okay. Then he went on to say, in 2024, over 150,000 tech workers, tech in the IT space, have lost their jobs. And then he says 2025 is forecasted to be the same, which means in 2 calendar years, 300,000 tech jobs will be eliminated, right? Meaning there will be fewer jobs. So A, you got people that have been let go, and B, you got graduates coming into the pool. So it's crazy right now. All right. Now, I think they should write another article that's instead of like the lowest paying degrees, like which jobs will be completely eliminated in the next few years. I think an article on that would be very interesting. Remember, let's see, what else can we talk about? What else is fascinating? So, how can I forget? This made headlines. The $420 that, Carney promised did not make headlines because really there's nothing to talk about. It's peanuts. But one thing that did make headlines is that Carney is now going to spend 2% of GDP in the military. Military, armed force, Navy, I don't know where exactly, but somewhere in that world, and that's fear. Now, for you young adults, there is a great opportunity for you to find employment, okay? Now, the spending, I actually did research for you guys. You can thank me in the comment section. The spending for 25-26 fiscal year, right, will be between $50 and $55 billion, billion with a B. And that is a lot of money, which means there will be a lot of investment. Okay, now what does that mean? It means is A, you can either enroll yourself, right, get free education or cheap education. On top of that, you'll learn discipline and it provides income and future employment prospects, right? That's number one. Number two, what it does is we as society, we've lost the whole concept of discipline and following rules and guidelines. This will bring us back in line, right? Our youth really needs, I think, like certain countries like Israel, for instance, right? You're obligated, and Russia as well, you're obligated to serve in the army for 2 years. I think Canada should have something like this as well, where you're in the army for 2 years and you don't have access to your phones. That's it. Only emails, right? Emails for half hour a day. You email your friends, your family, and that's it. I think it'd be the best thing we can do for the young ones. And if you disagree with me, let me know why. I'd love to know why and how it would harm a young adult to detox from their phone for 2 years, how that would harm them. And how would it harm them if they learned what discipline was all about? I want to know why that's a bad thing. And if you agree with me, let me know as well. Let's see. Anything else that I wrote in my notes? Blindside. I want to talk about Blindside. That was actually the main thing. So there was actually a movie called The Blindside, and really what they talk about is when the army or police officers, when they go and invade, or if they come into a house or some building, looking for the bad guys, you can only look in a certain direction, right? And there's a blind side where you can't see someone coming and you might get hit or shot or whatever. So they always strategize, the army or the police officers, they strategize themselves in a way where there's eyes in every corner. Now, this concept of Blindside applies in every aspect of your life. It's not just a combat term, right? Even when it comes to jobs, the Blindside is it's a very useful tool if you think about it, because there are areas where no one's focusing. For example, that guy that I talked about who sits in line on behalf of spoiled young adults at $38 an hour and probably makes cash. That's 38 cash, right? So you have to look for blind sides. Which service do you think people need but aren't getting right now? Listen to people's complaints. Opportunities are scattered. They're scattered everywhere. It's just a questioning. It's a question of opening your eyes and your ears and having conversation with people and figuring out what are their pain points. And once you become curious, right? And once you become open, your world can change. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, when he came in power 10 years ago, he tried to change the culture of the country. And the first thing he said to all young adults, he said, don't look for jobs, create jobs, right? Like, put yourself in a position of power where you don't need to look for a job. And I'm conveying that message to you guys. There's blind sides out there, right? Find that blind side, see what the pain points are, and attack it. And if you put your everything into it, you'll succeed. And remember, it all starts with a simple conversation.